43.
42. 41.
40.
39.
Number 1.
39.
38.
37.
36. 35.
34.
33. 32.
31.
30. 29.
28.
27.
26.
25.
24.
23.
21.
20.
19.
18.
17. 16.
15.
14.
13.
12.
11.
10.
9. 8.
7. 6. 5.
4.
3.5.
3.
2.
1.
Hey, Rocky, you want to see me pull a show out of my hat? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
Hi, and welcome to the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty fresh. Welcome to the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty fresh take on politics. We're off to a little shaky start here today. Forgot to push my mute button on my microphone there. But hey, welcome. Hey, we got a great show for you tonight. We got a great show. Tiffany, she has some sort of dinner tonight. Couldn't make it on the show, but hey, we're lucky enough to get Curtis Hill to fill in for her. So I see him backstage, and we got Brad, our lone Democrat, holding down the fort and all that good stuff. And I do see Richard Bagsby, our guest of honor, coming on. And this is going to be a good thing because Curtis had a story about Richard, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty convenient for our show and Tiffany being missing. But I don't see Lucy yet. So hopefully she'll pop on here and we'll have a full panel and a full show. But first, let's get to the business of the day. So if you were following along on Facebook and Twitter, I did a little poll. I've just been feeling really discouraged about the Marion County GOP, the Republican Party in general, and just feel irrelevant. Let's just put it that way, and underappreciated and all that good stuff. So when you do that, you go to the social media and you put out a post and you just everybody feels sorry for me and sing the kumbaya and all that and make me some s'mores. But so I put a poll out there and it said, should I stay or should I go? Because I just really don't feel needed or wanted or all that stuff. So, you put that out there. So we had 16 votes on Twitter, and that was 56 people, 56% said I should leave the party, 49 stay, and 0 were not sure. So they were all in. So it looks like it's probably about 9-7 on that. But Facebook, now that got some things going. They had about 50 comments on that post and 72 votes. So we can consider that a large sample. Anything over 30 is considered a large sample. If you do research, you'll know what I'm talking about. It says 12% leave, 87 stay, and 1 vote not sure. So most of that consensus was you need to stay and be a pain in their neck. This is what I sort of took away from that. But that was the poll. So I guess I'll stay, but I'm going to leave it up to the magic 8 ball. It's not a complete research study unless I do the magic 8 ball. So let's see what it says. Should I stay? This is the question, because sometimes you can do a question and you mess it up and the 8 ball can't answer it. But in this one, should I stay in the Republican Party? Let's see what it says. Signs point to yes. All right. Well, no vacation for me then, because I was sort of appreciative. I was liking it. I mean, I actually cleaned out my garage Saturday. I didn't have to go to a meeting. It was all fun in the games. And I rode my bike last night, and tonight it's no meetings. Oh, but it looks like meetings are going to come out again. So anyway, that's what we did. And I am going to have a meeting on June 12th. I didn't make it to the last meeting. That's a long story, but I got a meeting with the state chair and the Marion County chair down at the mothership on 101 West Ohio Street, the grand old party headquarters, and we're going to talk about stuff. So we'll have to wait till June 12th because they can't work me in any time sooner than that. It's really a long time to wait for a meeting. But anyway, so hey, I'm going to go ahead and bring on Richard, and let's see. Looks like he's ready to go back there. All right, Richard, hello, hey,
Yes,
what's happening?
yes. How we
Yes,
doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, no
I know that
Thanks for having me.
we're trying to promote the people that are really out there doing stuff, and you're a guy, you're a moving and a shaking, and if you're not shaking, you're moving it. So
Yeah, a little bit.
tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, where you're from, all that good, wonderful things.
So like the name down below says, I'm Richard Bagsby. I'm out of Lafayette, Indiana. My wife and I, we have 8 children, 6 grandchildren. 3 of them, obviously, of the children are adults. We live out here on a homestead, which is my background is the woods there. Right now it's bedtime for our kids. So, I didn't want to trouble them with screen time going. They may want to jump on here too. So have a big campaign kickoff event popping up this Friday at 5:30 this evening, or 5:30 at night. It's going to be great. Been in politics since 2016, I guess. What drove me to politics, I always say it was like a John Wick type of deal. I went to a school board. My wife and I went to a school board, and it was during COVID. I guess what drove me to be active in politics, because it's one thing to be in politics as far as observing what's going on the sidelines. It's another to actually get into the field. So I got into the field back in the COVID days, whereas they made everybody mask up and vaccinate and all that weird stuff that they were doing. So we had 2 kids that had speech impediments, and we were simply asking the school board if they could have an exemption, because, they're getting frustrated. No one knows what, everyone's having a hard time understanding what they're saying because, they got the mask like this, you know what I mean? And they're trying to talk. And so I say, hey, listen, instead of them getting in trouble for taking the mask off because they're trying to communicate with everyone, why can't you guys just give us an exemption, give them an exemption, so when they're inside that class, they can just take their mask off and just speak freely, and they can see the teacher's lips moving so that they know how to pronunciate and articulate, the verbiages in the English language, real simple stuff. I'm really thinking that at the time I was naive. I'm really thinking like, that makes sense and they're going to do it. Nope, they didn't do it. They said, hey, I don't know why you guys, and maybe they were frustrated with other people because I wasn't being belligerent or anything like that. But they were like, I don't know why everybody's asking for this and that, blah, blah. Your fight is with the state, not us. That's when I created the war elephant.
Well, you probably like the rhino hunting that I put on the part of the start of the show.
Oh, wait till you see our hats. Our hats, it has Rhino Hunter. It's basically a tag, and it says Rhino Hunter permit tag. No bagging limit, no tagging limit. Expires when we take back Indiana, right?
Yeah.
And then I can't say the rest, but you'll see it if you come out to the campaign.
Yeah, hey, I'm scheduled to come. John Piper John Piper's bought a table, and we're gonna road trip to the Lafayette. That's Lafayette area. So when I see the woods back there, I'm sort of glad Tiffany's not on tonight because Bigfoot's probably back in there. And there he went. Bigfoot just went by. I think Tiffany's chasing him. She said she had a dinner, but I think she's really chasing Bigfoot in your woods. But we're glad to have Curtis Hill. So I guess Curtis has got a story. I'm going to go ahead and bring the panel on here. Let's see, Curtis, and there we go. Let's get people in the right place. And
what's going on, brother?
How you doing, Richard?
Richard, good to meet you.
I want to hear
Pleasure meeting you as well, Brett.
I want to hear the story about how Curtis discovered Richard, because that's what he told me, Dan. Though he says, "Oh, I'm taking credit for discovering Richard."
That's absolutely the truth. I'm down in Lafayette at Walt's other place, not Walt's place, but Walt's other place, and we have an event.
I just left there tonight. That's why I'm late getting on.
See, there you go. And while I'm speaking, being eloquent and laying out my future plans and things, this guy in the corner keeps piping off. And I keep looking over, and he's saying some interesting things. But I kind of let him go. And finally, I had to say, hey, fella, I work alone. But Richard caught fire that night. And Richard, you remember that?
I do. I still have the picture.
He kept speaking. He kept bringing things up and talking about things, and the crowd just ate him up. And after the event was over, everyone's circling around Richard, and we saw a star born. That's other place. So I'm taking full credit for Richard.
It's so funny because Tiffany's absent, and I was going to say, because it was sort of last minute today, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just get Whitty to come on from his show over. And then it just dawned on me, so I want to give Curtis a jingle. And as you know, a politician that you can't get a hold of is worthless. So
I'm not a politician. I'm a former statesman.
Yeah, statesman. I'm sorry.
A
statesman that you can't get a hold of is worthless as well. So the key is being able to have conversation with people. Brad, how are you doing tonight?
Pretty good. I went to that show in New Orleans, like from last week when I was there. When I got back, it was like 4 a.m. I went out on my balcony, and the streets were pretty dead except for this one dude that was walking, and I swear he squatted on the sidewalk and took a dump.
He thought he was in Indianapolis.
No, it was New Orleans. It was probably because weed is legal there or not legal there, according to Whitty. Whichever, that guy doing that was because weed's legal. But
are the White Sox eliminated from the playoffs yet?
Oh, no, not yet. No.
Okay.
I'm actually taking my mom to a game for Mother's Day this weekend. They're playing the Marlins. So.
Okay, yeah. So
hoping for a win, They won last time. So
if they can't beat a fish, they can't win. So anyway, let's get down to it here, because let's talk politics in Indiana. I think we've all had our stint on that. Brad, you've run for office. Curtis, you've been in office. Richard wants to be in office, and I'm just Johnny the Outcast. So, I think that a lot of folks have had it with both parties. Brad, is that safe to say that there's some there's some disenfranchisement on both parties?
Oh, most definitely. I find it hilarious watching Republicans like argue among yourselves about like who's worse, and it's like you guys have a super majority. Like I don't understand how you guys are not just advancing things ahead. Continue not doing so, please, though. But like,
keep talking, right?
Didn't Braun just sign the budget today? And he like gave like a nice little synopsis of it, but like nobody wanted it. It was everybody was kind of against it. A lot of people came out against it, and he still signed it. He didn't want a veto, so I don't know. It's like who's really in charge if he was unpleased with that? That's been kind of weighing on me a little bit.
Well, we had Dr. Stock on last week.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about the CCLA, which I think I finally got the letters down. It's the Citizens Coalition for Legislature Accountability. It's only taken me a year to get that. I feel it's a milestone. And I think that there's a lot of places for people to hide. So Curtis, what do you think about how the sausage is being made? That's what Dr. Stock thing is, how the sausage is being made. You have firsthand knowledge of the state house and the way things go down up there. Where do you think we come up with this impasse of real stuff getting done?
Well, people are getting frustrated because it is all a game. Essentially, you have a handful of people in the state house who call the shots in the General Assembly, and then everybody else is there for the free steak dinner at St. Elmo's. We all know a lot of people who are good people, but they don't have the concentration of power. So what happens at the State House, there will be an issue that comes up, and there'll be some activists that are engaged in that issue. The game plan is bring the activists on board, let them believe that we're going to go forward with the moves that they want to see happen, but don't tell them that we're going to change the rules within the last 2 weeks of the session. So you get them neutralized so that they can't be completely against it. You switch tactics, switch the program a little bit, and then you push something in that nobody wants, nobody needs. It's like Brad said, a supermajority by the Republican Party is a complete waste because we're not marching through with a conservative agenda. We're marching through with a milquetoast agenda, and it shows up every time. And everybody's afraid of stepping on each other's toes because we're all one big, happy, incestuous family. Uh, it, it's really tiring. It's boring, and our state's not advancing in the process.
And you know what they say about lukewarm, you get spit out. So, Richard, you're going to announce you're going to run for something or other here coming up on Friday. What, it seems like when you're new into this, you have all the stars in your eyes and you're looking at the horizon and just everything's great. How do you think you can move the needle?
Well, John, if you remember, I actually ran for House District 41 back in 2022. And at the time I was pretty naive, thinking that things were going to work out with me and the leadership. But we found out real quick that they restricted my access to their system, to their I-360 system, and to all the other systems. It was an open race. And in an open race, they gave two of the opponents access to, for example, the I-360, but they restricted my access to the I-360. So how am I going to move the needle this time? Well, I simply just recreated their system, and I use it at my own whims. I give access when I need to Liberty candidates, and I mean, I like I told you, I don't want to go too far into my campaign, but we've been running a whisper campaign, and now it's out in the news right now. And you know what? The news is they're doing the work for me now at this point in time. And right now we kind of, my team and I, we kind of have this this culture, this thought that the campaign is it's too big to interfere with now. And so I'm not, I represent the war elephant, and everyone knows that about me, but that doesn't mean that I'm anti-establishment. I think there are essentially some good people in the establishment, but I'm anti-establishment leadership. That's what I am, because it's the leadership that really controls the legislator on both sides. It's the leadership that pressures them, and listen, pressure busts pipes. And I learned that when I was young, you know what I mean? Is people always bigger than you in this world? There's people that's always tougher than you. But sometimes those bullies, right? They find somebody big enough. They find somebody tough enough that's not going to go for the okie doke, right? And so, honestly, for me, I have experience with people like that they think that they own everything and everybody. When I ran in 2022, they offered me $240,000 to be the black face of the caucus, and I turned it down. And when I turned it down, they restricted my access. But it was because they couldn't buy me. And so now I'm here. Star News just had an op-ed. I'll read the op-ed real quick. Now I'm gonna shut up for a minute and let somebody else talk. But here, let me read the op-ed for you real quick, because like I said, we've never announced publicly, but what we have done has been tremendous. Matter of fact, just today, I just finished knocking the doors of the precinct committeemen in both counties of the district. They didn't expect that, of course, but we did, and that's how dynamic. That's the difference between when I ran the first time and when I'm running today. Now, the first time we ran, I will say that we prepared that run. We prepared 3.5 months for that run. The guy that they gave $450,000 to, he beat me by 100 votes. We only had $19,000. Today, when we started this campaign back in January, February, we had 14 months. And so we're running, and I'm gonna read what they said about me. Mind you, I didn't give the news authorization to write this up. Somebody took it upon themselves. So the headline reads this. It's from Star City News, which is our local news. It says, Indiana Senate District 22 to see first contested GOP primary in decades. For the first time this century, Indiana Senate District 22 will have a contested Republican primary. Richard Bagsby will launch his campaign Friday in Lafayette, challenging longtime incumbent Senator Ron Alting, who has held the seat since 1998. Mind you, I have an exploratory committee. Somebody did this on their own. And it says the primary marks a rare intra-party contest in the district, which has not seen a Republican challenge in over 25 years. The reason why there's intra-party fighting right now is because we have a supermajority. And the supermajority is not performing, which is why I said in the debate back in 2022, before Eric Holcomb started putting money in my opponent's pocket, and we have that in the, you can see it in the finance, the campaign finance, is we are a supermajority, so why don't we look more like Florida instead of Michigan?
That's a good one.
That's the problem.
Yeah. So, you know, I think that is a major problem. And Brad is up there just laughing and skipping. And
I am content.
He is.
I mean,
like,
not really as a Hoosier. Like it's
no, yeah. But as far as watching us self-destruct, and you know, in the
well, but it makes the question: who has the power then? Like, I know that you guys are talking about like who there's no like a lack of leadership, but where? Yeah, I mean, why are those people in those positions, and don't leaders just kind of like?
Well, here's my take on what I've seen. And Curtis, I want you to chime in after I butcher this, trying to explain what I think about it. So basically, you have the leadership, you have the pro tem and the House Speaker, and they are and they make they bring out these rules, and then they sort of lean on everybody. And if you don't follow the rules, you'll end up like Mike Young or John Jay. You'll be out. You'll be out of the club. So they really just go along with the rules that they make up, and then they can hide behind these rules. And then, you know, as you know, they make these rules and they say, "Oh, Curtis, you hit it on the head when you said, oh, well, they'll appease this mob or the group or the activists or whatever." Just like, you know, they played Rob Kendall like a fiddle. Oh, we're going to have a tax rally. We're going to have this. And the governor goes out there and says, "I'm with you." And then when he gets ready to get the bill, he says, "I'm not so much with you. And I'm not going to veto the thing."
Oh man, when he called Micah a mouthpiece, that was hilarious last week.
Yeah, you anytime you get a jab
Micah
out
got
of Micah,
so mad. It was uncomfortable to listen to that.
Yeah, it was. Well, and it is sort of like a circular firing squad. So you can vote a certain way, or you don't have to be on the record. So you got a constituent. We'll just use abortion as an example. You got a constituency back at your little rural town in wherever you are that just as pro-life as can be. And so this abortion thing comes up, and man, this guy can't be seen even talking about that. If we're going to keep abortion or whatever, so they let him go over here and hide and not have to really say anything about it. So he can go back to his constituents and say, "Oh, I fought for the pro-life thing," and you know, and nobody has any proof that he didn't or did. So
Good job. That's hilarious, John.
Yeah, I know. Well, maybe that's what you got me with the subconscious.
Yeah, subliminal. Yeah.
So that's sort of. So I think they really have a place to hide. They want to stay in power. They want to, you know, the lobbyists are going to control where things go. And I think that one of the things that they're really scared of is not so much not getting the money from them, but them doing like they did with Richard, supporting the other guy against you. So it's not so much, it's almost a two-way street. You don't get the money, and the other person they pick gets the money, and you're out.
Well,
so,
you know, John, a lot of good people run for office and get elected to the state house. And then this is where the problem begins, because the very first thing that they want to do after they get elected is get reelected. And because of that desire to get reelected, they get swept into the game where, come to this fundraiser in Indianapolis. You don't have to do the fundraiser back in your home venue where you have to do all the work. Come to this fundraiser where we have this association, that association. We'll raise $25,000 for you here, and then you become beholden. And that's how the process works. They suck in these people who have integrity and turn them into sycophants. So now I'm stuck. I'm bought and paid for, and I'm quiet. So the enthusiasm and the spirit that you have with a freshman representative gets melted away, and that person becomes caught up in the system. And that process continues all the way through leadership. The leadership picks the chairs. The chairs are going to do what the leadership says, or guess what? They don't have chairs. I don't have an answer for this, other than if we have a wave of young, they're not to be young, maybe even old, but people with integrity who go in and stick to their guns and stick to their mission and stick to the game plan. And that's what we need to see in the state of Indiana.
Yep, and I think Richard is definitely, from what I know of him, he is one of those guys. But Andrew Ireland is a good example of that. I mean, and I don't know how he's gotten away with it. I really don't, because usually, you know how it works, Curtis. You don't get in line, you're going to be out of the caucus. You're going to have some stuff going on. But
well, the way to bypass that though is by transparency and getting it out in the public. If you're quiet and you don't put it out there, yes, you can get clobbered. But if you put this information out on Front Street, it makes it a lot more difficult for the sneaky powers to come up and snag you from behind.
Yeah, and I think he did a good job with that. I mean, he hit issues that were pertinent to the south side of Indy. He went after the prosecutor. And Curtis, I'd love to see you come down here, move down here to Indianapolis. I got extra rooms over here. You could stay at my house if you come down to be prosecutor. I would love that. But he stayed in his lane. He's an attorney. He the safety. He stayed in his lane well. I'm just surprised that he got away with it. I'm just saying. Because I know what it's like when you're not in the club. And, Curtis, so I want to do a little walk through history here of how, you were a rising star and all that stuff that you got elected, and you didn't seem to be one that was led down that path. You sort of did what was right. I was very impressed with the remains that you brought back of the aborted fetus. I mean, it just, that's compassion. And I've seen you work at my arts. I mean, those are the type of things we really need. And to see how you were, what they did, it really just disappointed me. And maybe that's part of why I did my survey today, because it just seems like we're beating on a big rock and the rock doesn't move. So,
that's what happens when you fly a little close to the sun. You draw some attacks, and that's the unfortunate thing about the Republican Party. When I went through my situation and accusations, the very people in our party who didn't stand with me and ask for fairness were all over Brett Kavanaugh. The Kavanaugh situation unfolded just a few weeks after my situation, and the same people who completely ignored what was going on with me were in line deep about fairness and justice for Kavanaugh, and it was just a completely blatant exchange. But what happens is, in a state like Indiana, you get people that are competitive. Instead of recognizing that we've got lots of fertile candidates and a good ground to cover and being supportive of each other, everybody wants to land the same fish, and therefore you've got a lot of jealousies, a lot of pettiness, a lot of games that are played, and what happens is people lose sight of the desire to run for office. It shouldn't be a personal attack game. It should be a situation where people come in and do the right thing and get support or not support based upon what they're doing in office.
Yeah, here's a comment. They should be ashamed of themselves for what they did to you, Curtis, and they don't seem to have any shame, do they? And I recall Dana Black coming on the show. That's been 2 years. I think 2 years now. We're on show number 217. That's crazy that we've been able to stick around that long. But it's sad when the Democrats, and when it's funny that Brad's laughing at us. I mean, it's funny that he's laughing at the situation, but at the same time, it's just terribly sad. It's not good for our state. It's obviously we have this legislator session, I think, is probably one of the most disappointing ones I've seen. And Curtis, you've seen more than I have. What's your take? And then Richard, I want to get your take on it, and even you, Brad. So let's start with Richard. What's your take on this? I'm thoroughly disappointed with this session, and for various reasons. They stuck a bunch of stuff in at the end, which they usually do. But the fact that we should have had a real look at property tax, just the things that we need to have done, and it just got screwed up. So what do you think, Richard?
Well, I mean, personally, I think property taxes is immoral. I went to my hometown where I was born, Gary, Indiana, to my grandmother's old house that was taken from her through tax lien, and so the property taxes hits home for me. Now, as far as the legislator go, this session is just doing business as is. Me personally, I don't know how they can fix it because it's hard to police yourself, and that's what we're asking them to do, is police themselves. They can't police themselves, but I believe what could happen and what should happen, what we may see this cycle, this campaign cycle, and not just my campaign, but other campaigns that will be kicking off this cycle, and there's going to be a lot of them. But I think what we need to start seeing is our legislators holding each other accountable outside of the legislator itself. And what that looks like is that these courageous individuals, I know that they're there, that they step up and they help out in some of these campaigns, especially if you have good Republican candidates, conservative candidates, that's out here that's trying to primary the incumbents. And listen, I'm not asking this for myself. I'm just telling you that if it was me and I'm having a hard time with the legislator and these people are steady trying to bully me in such a way, then yes, I'm going to start a citizen caucus, period, point blank. And this citizen caucus I'm going to use to help campaign against other legislators who I feel like that are bums.
Here's a problem with this. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Richard. The problem with this is the average person, whether it's in Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, it doesn't matter where, the average person doesn't have a clue who their state representative or state senator is.
That's very much true.
That is very true.
The average person does not know who the rep is. They don't know the issues. So once someone gets elected and once the system swarms over them with the money and protects the incumbent and then owns that person, the odds of getting them out have just gone down remarkably.
That's right. It does.
And as I said, and this happens to good people. Good people with integrity go in and get compromised. So it's one of the things that we have to ask ourselves is what can we do? What do we need to do for the public to engage in the General Assembly to understand who their reps are, who their state senators are, what they're doing, and then hold them accountable.
And what I'm suggesting is that we get some of these more courageous individuals that we know, and we get them on the campaign trail. Get them to do something extraordinary. Get them outside of the box, outside of the normal day-to-day thing of, I always hear this thing, well, I would support you, but I think I have to be neutral. How can you be a Switzerland when there's war all around you, right? We have my opponent, for instance, who will be my opponent, right? He's the liberals' favorite Republican, and you still like this guy. You still want him to be a lawmaker. You still want him to work beside you. There's got to be someone that's willing to stand up and that's willing to hold their colleague, whatever you want to call him. He wouldn't be if this was a football team and I was the tailback and I had to run the ball and my fullback is not running through the same hole that I have to run through first to block the middle linebacker.
You're going to bench his ass.
That's right. That's right. And you
got to go.
You might beat him up in the locker room. I don't know. Depends on if I get hurt.
Hit him with my good arm. So Brad,
you have to find legislators that's willing to hold other legislators accountable. Now, will that happen? I doubt it now, but if you get people that have this backbone, right, have this courageousness about themselves to say to, XYZ, fill in the name or whatever of your favorite politician, that's really shouldn't be your favorite politician, but a bum politician, right? And as a senator, in the full capacity of a senator or a House representative, right, says to that senator, listen, if you don't get your act together, I'm going to go into your district with the We the People group, XYZ, whoever, and I'm going to help them basically drop literature all throughout your district. And I'm going to put your people, I'm going to put you on notice with your people. And that's what you need. Now, that may be a pipe dream, but I'm not
Hey,
saying.
let me stop you there, Richard. That ain't a pipe dream. There's some trouble brewing in Indiana with this because, I'll give you a good example. Mike Young, he doesn't caucus with the party. He and the pro tem got into it and never did find out exactly what it was, but it had something to do with lying to somebody. Does that surprise you in politics? But he used to be like the majority leader in the Senate, and now he's out of the caucus. So that's good news, bad news. He didn't have to go to caucus, so yeah. I'll go down and visit him because he's got a couple hours to kill, or an hour or whatever.
But do you know, not to cut you off, John, you know how much power that he could actually have right now? If he went around, because he's not assigned, right?
No.
Okay, so now you're not assigned. So now what you could do is you can create a citizen caucus of, let's just say, 92 individuals that might represent 92 counties. I don't know. There's a lot of things that you can be doing.
Might be something like that going on.
You know what I'm saying? And then you bring them to the state house. Listen, now you guys don't have to assign. I hope they don't assign me. I promise. I hope they don't assign me, because by not assigning me leadership role, right? I have 4 years at the end of the day.
Well, and that's the other part of it was Mike can speak his mind, and Mike is very sharp. He's very sharp. If you talk to Mike about anything, he reads every single bill, and he's sort of like that. He says, "Well, I'm not in caucus now. I got more time to read these bills." Yep. And you cannot get stuff by him. He will. He's like
he'll call you out, and that's.
He's not as colorful as John Kennedy from Louisiana, but he does that.
Hey, tell him to come down to my campaign kickoff. I want to meet him.
I see. Yeah. Well, he's a good guy. I mean, he's legit, and that's what. And he's, as I say, 80% of why voters on somebody to get a hold of him, and he answers and always takes my call and all that good stuff. So, Brad, what you're hearing right here is. What are you hearing right here? That's more.
Well, I mean, you guys are all upset about the same thing that we're upset about, and it's just accountability and doing what the voters, I guess, put you into office for, because there's a lot of upset voters right now, or constituents. Like, so whoever they voted for, I feel like a lot of those legislators didn't do what they promised. And again, I know that there's some debates that had to happen, but just going forth with transparency too. You touched on like the stuff getting slammed into the budget at the last minute. Like, who do we still even know who put in the stuff about Braun taking over the board of trustees for IU? Like, nobody
got in there.
How does that happen?
It happens by them not reading the bill.
Yeah,
but no. I mean, but
at 2 a.m. It happens at 2 a.m.
Somebody putting in that amendment, right?
Yeah, they stuck it in.
That has to be somewhere, but nobody has been able to find it. Like, I think Thompson even said he couldn't recall to the press about it, and I'm like, you can totally recall. I know somebody has to know how it got in. And, they just put stuff in. There was no public debate. I don't know how even Republicans are okay with this. There was none. And they just made that decision. So if they've already broke the ice on this, if they've already broken the seal, they can
thought my conspiracy theory last week about that was spot on as far as how that went down. So I want to shift gears here a little bit, because we're talking about, Richard, I'm an outsider. Curtis, I'm sorry to say, but you're pretty much an outsider these days. Brad, I think you're probably even an outsider. Just being on this show puts you in the category of being an outsider in the Democrat Party. I'm just saying right now, and you don't even.
Oh yeah.
So, what? Because we've had some interesting things happen. Let's talk about Diego Morales. He's a guy that went around and he campaigned like a champion. I'm the hottest working guy in the government. I work very hard for you. And it seems like he's not turned out to be the guy that we thought he was going to be. In fact, I think I saw a poll the other day that said 80% of the people, now 70% of the poll were Republicans, which is still bad. That's bad news if you're a Republican. He's got the worst favorable rating of any of them.
Who could have seen that coming? Honestly, like,
obviously the delegates when we voted didn't, and so I say that. And then you see somebody like John Jacob, friend of mine, John Jacob. He came in with Kirk Nicely. They caused a big ruckus, and out they went. Then we have the latest thing with Micah and the 3/5 video that he did. So does that hurt the chances of, say, an outsider getting a chance? I mean, because what's that say? They are who we thought we were. What was that? Coach?
Yeah, Dennis Green.
Viking Dennis Green. They are who we thought they were.
Yeah.
Does that make people? I guess does that make voters reluctant to change to something? I always say, unless you have something better to go to, people won't go to it.
Curtis talked earlier about voter apathy and just not being up to date on your information, and it only makes it worse on that aspect. Totally, I think.
Yeah.
Like if you see it just being a circus, you're like, okay, this is just. It doesn't even matter who votes.
Yeah, and I was always impressed with Curtis. Always had the right things to say. I don't recall hearing you misstep on anything as far as when you were explaining something or talking about to a group or the ones that I was at. You always stayed on target. You didn't go off the reservation. You didn't, go rogue or anything. So I'm going to ask you, what do you think about Micah's technique and what do you make of it with the different stuff he's doing?
Well, first of all, I love Micah. Micah's a good friend of mine, and I want to see him succeed. And that's why I'm concerned about Micah taking the approach that he's got to get in every fight that's out there. I've talked to him about it. He does not have to engage. There was no reason to engage a little-known Democrat legislator who was making a throwaway comment on a DEI bill that had already passed, comparing that to the 3/5 compromise. The two issues are unrelated. So let the person speak. It dies out. No, step into the controversy and then go through a history lesson. Well, it's a complex issue. The 3/5 compromise is not nearly as easy an issue to talk about. And I don't have a problem with the facts that Micah issued in terms of the 3/5 compromise being a necessity to hold the union together during the Constitution. That being aside, the concern I had was taking it a step further and saying that it was a good move or a great move for Black America.
There's no way to get to that.
Or that it hastened the abolition of slavery. And from my perspective, it took 78 years to end slavery after the Constitution was drafted. I don't think the 3/5 compromise had anything to do with the abolishment of slavery. In fact, it did provide additional power to the southern states to enhance slavery over the course of the next 78 years. So forget about who's right or who's wrong. The point is, was it necessary to step into that battle and draw all this controversy? What did it do for his position as lieutenant governor, for whatever agenda he may have, and the issues before the state, before the people? That's the concern I have.
Curtis, you know why he did it. I mean, like it was flashy, or he's still in the news for it. He still is
he made national news
he
on
wants
that
to
one.
spend when he goes to schools, which is also a concern of mine. When he got elected, I knew that he wants to make sure people are taught a certain way, and I know that is probably part of why he did what he did.
So, I heard that somebody, and this is one of the things that I think is that he's sort of learning as he goes along. And, I think we all can say that we learn this as we go along. You make mistake here and there because you just don't know any different. So I don't know. Do we think that going forward that Micah's going to choose better? Richard, what do you think? Do you think that, or is this a strategy of his that he's going to keep poking the bear, pushing the envelope?
Well, I mean, I can't speak for Micah.
Please do. Brad would love it.
No, I can't speak for Micah. I think we wage war and we battle on different battlefronts. And, for me, I know what battles I need to be in. I know what battles I don't need to be in. You know what I mean? I know when I can win. I know when I can lose. And I have to calculate my every step. In chess, I'm a chess player, a very avid chess player. And we have a saying in the chess world, let your next move be the best move. It could be your last move. You never know. And so as far as Micah goes, I'm sure he has a rhyme or a reason on why he does, the things that he do. But for me, I pick and choose. I pick and choose my battles because I want to make sure I can control the atmosphere and the environment when I do go to battle.
Yeah, and I've noticed that about you and Curtis. Brad, not so much. You're a White Sox fan and a Fish fan. So
Yeah.
You're out of this one. Hey, this just in. Pacers 120-119 over the evil Cleveland Cavaliers. So that's good news right there. So the Pacers are
Nice.
So I just want everybody to know that I did predict that the Pacers and the Fever would win the championships this year. Way back when, Brad, you were on the show, so don't even shake your head like I don't remember it, because I got tape that says that. So, and I also predicted Trump would get 314 electoral votes. That happened. So, mark it down. You can bet on, go to DraftKings or wherever and bet. The Pacers are going to win the whole thing, and the Fever are going to win the whole thing, just like the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Pirates won one year. Maybe you younger guys don't remember that, but me and Curtis do. We remember that.
Oh, I'm a younger guy.
You're the same age. You're older than me, maybe. I don't know, but I can't tell. I look older than you.
I'm just well preserved.
Yeah, that's good. So let's see. What up?
I wanted to add to that too, John. Just really thinking about it, like, let's not forget for us. I mean, I don't really know you too well, Brad, but so I won't speak for you. But for us, Mike is still a breath of fresh air for what we have and what we have had in the past. For number one. Number two, that's my brother, and like I won't say the line that I want to say, but that's my brother, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna love him regardless of what the case may be. And when people oppose him, him and I will sit down and talk privately, but in the public eye though, that's my brother,
Yeah. No, I totally get that.
Yeah. Well,
And I think I feel the same way as you do, Richard. I think what we want to do is work together. Everybody can have an opinion and everybody can put it out there. What I want to do is be helpful and provide guidance on where the minefields are out there, because I want to see Micah succeed. I want him to pick his battles. I want him to identify as a new elected official, and keep that in mind. This is his first elected office. I think he's a school board member, but
Library board.
These are the big leagues, and there's a lot of people gunning for you. There's a lot of people who have a target out for Micah, for many of the reasons that Brad spoke about. I mean, there's a lot of people who think he's a dangerous fellow. I think he's a wonderful person. I want to see him do well, and I think sometimes if it's just a matter of how you manage your rhetoric, can make all the difference in the world.
Yeah. And Brad's been pretty decent with his feelings about Micah, but there is some people out there. There's this. I'm going to mention.
People go completely overboard.
Yeah, this on TikTok. There's TikTok seems to become this. They have these little chat rooms. I have not figured it out yet. And there are so many people in there with TDS. It's ridiculous. The thing will say, why you're in a Trump cult, and it'll be like 5 or 8 people in there just crying about whatever. But this one, Corinne Strait, she's from up in your area, Curtis. And she's on the TikTok, and I'm pretty sure she's paid to do this. I think she used to be in journalism, or she used to be on. She's very well spoken. Very articulate. It mansplains that stuff to you out there, tells you what you're supposed to think and all that. But she just really, really does. She compared Micah to that Ballmaster guy, the guy that had all the bodies buried at his farm. And that's what she said. This Ballmaster and Micah, they are the same. And then she tried to deny that she did it. And I'm like, wait a second, you can't do that and not say that. I'm like, to me, that's too far. That's too much when you do something like that, because that guy was not a good person. Not a good person at all. Micah, as far as I know, he doesn't have anybody buried at his farm. Please.
No, and like Micah welcomed me and my staff when we visited the Capitol. We talked, and he understands. Like, so yeah, we get along, but he knows that I disagree with a lot of.
Yeah. So it was sort of like Bill Maher going to see President Trump. That was your. I saw your picture. You look.
Yeah,
like
that's basically how it feels sometimes. Yeah. So,
but yeah. So I think my thing is, like, what I've noticed is that people, if you like somebody, like I think that 3 of the 4 of us like Micah here, you'll let them have a little bit more mercy than you would of somebody.
No, he's doing exactly what I thought he would do, but that's because I saw exactly what he did at the library board.
At the library board,
he basically came in, created that controversy with Tiffany, with Ray, with Laura, and basically started like a tire fire. And then they all resigned when they got voted out, or when their terms were up. And Micah said he wouldn't do it. We knew going in that he was going to go for lieutenant governor, and then he ended up resigning to go campaign for that, leaving behind all of that crap that they even tried to pass. Like, I watched that happen to the library, and then I saw him go to the state. So, like, this isn't.
It's a pattern. Is that what you're trying to say? There's a pattern.
Well, but my question to you guys, like, what did he think the response was going to be?
The response.
Well, the video. Did he think it was going to be positive? Did he think it was going to be welcomed and not?
I think Mike is led by what he thinks is right, which I have no objection to. I think from a political standpoint, we all who are engaged in political office need to recognize what's our objective, and does what I'm about to say or what I'm about to do meet that objective? That's the question that I have is when he's speaking, when he's stepping forward, does this meet the objective that you're facing? Now, if this is if he feels that his objective was met, he did the right thing. If he feels that his objective was not met, then he's on the wrong track. We can disagree with that. I might disagree with him, but at the end of the day, he's got to be responsible and accountable for his own belief system and what he thinks is correct. My job as a supporter of his is to whisper in his ear and say, hey, I think you could do it like this and get the same result, and maybe have less rancor, but get the same amount of attention to an important issue and live to see another day.
So do you think that we're getting close to the end here? Do you think that he's just I've always sensed a disconnect between the governor's people and his people. I feel like there's two set. I don't
sure they are, because Micah kicked the governor's people. Mike Braun had his own pick, his own choice, and they leaned pretty heavy on a lot of people to go with that selection. And Micah upset the apple cart.
Yeah, to me, it's like, you know what? I just lost a county chair, and it was a bunch of garbage. They appoint. It was rigged. It was all that stuff. You just gotta get over it. And if you're the leader, as in this case, Braun is the boss, then it seems like to me they've got to get something together here, because this seems like it's just not going to end well. Because instead of going and saying, hey, let's have a little weekend retreat down at the Jasper, I'll fly you down in my helicopter. We'll land on that brand new helicopter pad, and we're going to talk about it. We may even go to Sultan's Run and play a little golf, and Merkley's and get a pork chop, and wherever else, in the Schneeder Witzel place that he wants to go to, and get it worked out. But man, it seems like they're working it out in the public. I mean, the
Well,
public eye.
Micah has earned a great deal of independence by virtue of how he won that election. So
That's right.
he
That's
doesn't
right.
belong, he wasn't selected for that position.
Yep.
He earned that position. Having said that, it's incumbent upon the two of them as Republicans, as leaders in the state house, to identify how to work together so that they can disagree or voice their opinions privately, but come together as a team. Because when the lieutenant governor and the governor of the same party are on different sides, that presents a continuity problem, and that's what I think they had to figure out. And we're not seeing a lot of success at that right now.
No, not well. And I don't know if they end up getting some of his power stripped or anything, but to me, if you want somebody to not go a rogue or do things like this, keep them busy. You know, it's like a little 2-year-old. You put them in a room by themselves, and they're going to destroy something. But if you go in there and you set out some games and whatnot, it'll be good.
Make them part of the team.
Yeah, it's that. Yeah, so you got somebody agreed with you, Curtis. That's look at that. Huh.
Imagine.
Yep. So, all right. Let's see. I'm trying to think what else. Does anybody else have anything else? We are not doing conspiracy theory because Richard, you got a political career. It looks bright in front of you. Curtis, we're going to get you back in the game before this. And I really don't care about my career. I mean, I just did a poll on should I stay involved or not involved. So I'm very much 1 foot in the grave out of the politics. But I do enjoy doing the show. It's fun, and I get to meet fun people, and even Brad. I can say I get along with a Democrat.
Thanks, John.
That's what I do. So, but does anybody have it?
Kind of Democrat though. He's very,
we get
quiet.
that a lot. He's our.
Yeah. No, I hate a lot of stuff too.
No. Get him in the mosh pit at a Fish concert. You'll see quiet. All right.
Mosh pit at a Fish concert.
The mosh pit at a Fish concert. That's somebody call the police or get the bail bondsman on the phone, whatever. But yeah. So we have certain people that just say burn the whole thing down, and I guess let's close on that on that question of when's enough. I mean, obviously I'm very frustrated with things. I know my conversations with Curtis, we share the same frustration with just trying to get done with what's right. The heck with the politics, the heck with the thing. I had a call the other day with the state party chairwoman. And it got to the point where I just said, you know what? All I want to do is fix the floodplain in Mars Hill, fix the Emmericksville Dam, and fix our roads. That's all I want to do. I don't care about any of these politics, any of this stuff. I just want to do what I do best, fix stuff. And I felt good when I said that. Again, that felt good. But I don't think we're near there. I think, this session that we just came out of, the way the politics are going, there's going to be some wicked primaries come up this next year, and it's about a year away, literally a year away from today, right?
Yeah. Candidates need to be out right now.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be the landscape is going to change. As I say, I think there's enough dissension, and that those groups are getting together, and I think there's going to have enough finances and enough volunteers to make a difference. So we'll see how that works out. It's not quite ready to be announced, but it's coming. It's coming.
Listen, so that's what I say to the people that want to just burn it down, is we're not going to just burn it down, but what are you doing outside of just saying burn it down? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy to say, let's just burn it down. Let's call it quits. But what does that even look like? And why should we give up? Just because it looks daunting. I mean, I'm running against a guy who's been in for 27 years. But guess what? I have a plan. I have a team. We're going to execute the plan. We're going to see how it goes. And it's not just one of those things. Let's just bring awareness to it, and it's not about that. It's about let's fight the hardest that we can. Let's throw everything at them. And at the end of the day, see how we fare. Instead of burning it down, what are you doing? Are you activated in someone's campaign? Are you running for office? Are you spreading information as far as helping other people get started. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not being disparaging to anyone who has that sentiment about burning it down. I'm just saying that there's other things.
That's the easy way out, sort of.
Yeah, that is the easy way out.
So, you know, Curtis said earlier before we got on, he said, "What's the alternative for us? Where there's no home for folks like us that really, you know, we're not the round pegs that fit in the square hole type of thing." So, Curtis, what is there an alternative for us?
Well, you know, I have no problem with burning something down. I'm not burning anything down unless I'm prepared to rebuild it. And that's what we need in our party. We need to rebuild. We need to be able to have ideas that catch fire. It's not enough for me to be right about something. It's what have I done to expand my vision onto someone else? What am I doing to persuade someone? You know, we've got to fix the things in our party because we have other things to fix. We need to fix the relationship between the Republicans and Democrats because America is weaker as long as we have the divisions that we have on a national stage. Why is that important? Because a strong America is what the world needs.
That's right.
And we can't be the strong America completely divided between Republicans and Democrats. We've got to fix these things. And we can't fix these as Republicans until we get our own act together. So, yeah, burn things down, but rebuild, extend the olive branch. I'm a firm believer that we should be able to reason our way through any battle by listening to the other person. I'm willing in any discussion to let you go first. Tell me what's on your mind. Let me listen. And by me listening, I send a signal to the person who's on the opposite side of me that I really am interested in what they have to say. And that's all people want. People want to be heard.
And I've seen you firsthand. I've witnessed that, and you do a very good job at that. So what we got, Adam Harvey's got a new slogan for you there. You know, ditch awful alting for badass Bagsby. Wow, that's Adam, stick to being a lawyer. That's, you know, that one.
And it made me feel so old though, because it's like, yeah, he was elected in the late 1900s, right?
Yeah, he's last century. You want to put it
like that? Like when you said last century, like, yeah, Richard.
He's back before the internet.
Oh man,
he's almost before the internet.
I was knee high to a grasshopper back then, man. But listen, I'll tell you this though, John, and I'll leave it at that. Is what Curtis, you know, piggybacking off of what he said, is this right here. It is not the rank and file. It's really not the rank and file. Those rank and file guys, they have been bullied for a long time, you know, and they're so used to the back room. This is how you're gonna vote, or why did you vote like that? You know, in 3 or 4 leaders right inside this room with one person pointing their finger in their face and cussing them out and threatening them with this, threatening them with that. Oh, we're gonna take the assign, you know, we're gonna take you from leadership. And so these people are being pressured. But man, what if a couple people that get into office and actually put their chest out, you know, put their back against the wind, you know what I mean, and put their foot down, like, you're not gonna bully me, you know. We had another saying growing up. We had a lot of sayings growing up when I was a kid. But I'm gonna tell you, one of those sayings, because we were hard-headed, is you can't whoop me. So we can talk about it, but you can't whoop me. So I'm not gonna let you cuss at me. I'm not gonna let you point your finger at me. None of that. I have 8 kids. I've been making American since 2001. You're not gonna cuss at me. My mom has passed away. My father's 76, so I don't get cussed at. You know, I don't get you. My wife don't yell at me. So they don't have people like that in office right now. They have a bunch of scared kids at the end of the day, and they're good people. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
leadership though. Some people in leadership. I'm not just throwing a blanket out there. Some people in leadership has been putting their finger on these rank and file individuals for far too long.
Yeah, and
they need to go.
Well, I think that the public, we talked about education earlier. I think the public is starting to see behind the curtain, and it's not the wizard. It's more sinister than that. It's just some guy twirling his mustache back there, plotting evil plots and all that.
So Brad's only going to get worse.
Nothing wrong with mustaches.
Yeah, you get in like a handlebar mustache and a Harley, and that's your next campaign move there. Oh,
John, that part's only going to get worse, though. I feel like everybody's wanting transparency, and there's a lot of like internet reporters, like Indie Reporter. I love that site. Like, there's a lot of like investigative people out there that are really helping the public know what's going on.
Yeah,
And that's one of the big hurdles.
And they have to. There's a lot of, it is boring. There's a reason why they sign
Oh, my
die
God.
at 2 a.m. Because nobody can watch them. There's a saying that that my mom used to have.
There you go, John.
Nothing good happens after midnight. So
That's true.
I think a lot of people that or be home before the street lights. So
yeah.
anything,
Hey, John, what do you guys? And I'm I keep saying that I'm like I'm like a preacher though too. You know what I mean? I preach every Sunday, or I preach or teach, one or the other. But anyway, so Signy Die was 2 a.m, but at 7 a.m, they already had advertisement about how good this SB1, bill was, as though they already knew that everyone was going to vote yes for it, that it was going to pass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so
there's more to that.
Transparent,
You look. I'm going to give you 465 as an example, and I've seen this a lot. I'll give you another example real quick. So I'm a mason contractor. So I go into the brick store and I start seeing these wet saws. When we cut masonry, you can cut it dry. They got new diamond. Yeah. So now I start seeing all these wet saws. Well, why are we seeing all these wet saws? Well, about a year later, OSHA comes up with a new rule. You can't cut dry anymore. So they already knew. So you look on 465, we have speed limit signs now that are digital. And on the south side where they got the new thing, they got the cameras across the road there. Those are for the toll. Those are the toll cameras. They haven't even, this stuff's already
planned.
Another thing, the new hotel downtown that the city's backing up the $600 million bond on. Did you not notice how fast that got going after they the city approved that bond? I mean, it was unbelievable. It was like they were already doing stuff before they even had the financing, because that's how certain they were that they could weasel this stuff down on us. So I know it's when you start seeing that, I think there's that saying, you get red pilled, you definitely start thinking, man, how long has this been going on? And it seems like, I don't know how you stop it. Now we know what's going on, and how do you stop it? So let's see. I want to give, who wants to do the last words? A closing prayer, so to speak, or the benediction to this show.
Is this from Pope Trump? Or
I give it to Brad.
Brad, give us a benediction here and tell us.
Brad, you're the quietest Democrat I've ever ran.
I've heard that. Yeah, no, I've heard that a lot. I'm almost.
Are you sure you're a Democrat?
No, I've been asked that a lot too.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew I wasn't a Republican, and so then that was like really my only option was.
It's like
like I've just recently learned about libertarians, so
okay.
He took over.
I might be going, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do it with the because I'm pro-choice, so I feel like libertarians are very pro-life, to the point where Lucy, she won't. Her and I've never talked about this part, but I think she would be mad at me about my stance. So
yeah. And you took over for Ed Liptrap. He was our other lovable Democrat, pretty much the same way. It's like, I don't think we really. Well, and we've had some more left-leaning. I would say that Ed and Brad are more centrist Democrat for sure. We had our first, Ashton was our first guest. She only made it 8 shows because she got so triggered that she couldn't go on. So,
oh man, I get ripped on all the time. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, it's Twitter?
Twitter's the meanest place on earth.
This would just be her friends that would say, "What are you doing on that show?" And I'm sure we all get feedback, and you choose your battles best you can and all that. But this show's been around for 4+ years, and we try to cover things tonight. Perfect example. We covered things that you're not going to see on news. You're not going to hear from. You're at the water cooler at work, but I'm on here with 3 people that have their ear to the ground on politics, and I feel like I learned a lot tonight about things and about you guys. So I appreciate you all coming on, even you, Brad. And
Hey, listen, Brad. Listen, this is what I'm gonna do for you. Okay, you seem like a really likable guy. You know what I mean? And so I tell you what, man, I'll adopt you on my campaign here down in Lafayette, or up in Lafayette.
All right. Well, no, thanks, because you're from Gary, right? Or like you.
I was born in Gary, but I live in Lafayette.
Well, I'm from Griffith originally.
Okay.
So like right next door. So yeah, that's just
don't
hilarious.
push your luck. It's not like I'm giving you a black card or anything like that. All I'm saying,
you got to work. Yeah, no, I'm not.
You ain't got to talk to me. You ain't got to talk to me.
Well, we have to have a meeting about that one. That's for sure.
Hey, Curtis and I'll have a meeting about that part.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
let me know.
But yeah, come on down, man. Friday, 5:30.
We got a spot for you, Brad. If you want to, if you can get there.
John has a table.
You got to, come on over.
Hey, your boy Micah be there. My brother, you know what I'm saying? He'll be there. And
this is Friday. Wait, this is Friday.
Hey,
Friday.
Don't do that.
What time?
5:30. You ain't got nothing to do, Brad. Don't even.
Curtis may even come
Curtis is planning on being there.
Hey.
Curtis is coming down. Oh man, come on! We're gonna have some fun. I can't wait.
We'll see.
I can't wait.
I'm pretty sure. Let me look at my calendar.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
seriously. Yeah, because I'm going.
Hey, John, go get him, man.
Yeah, I get it. Well, you get out of my house, you can roll with us. We'll be up there. We'll have lots of fun.
There you go.
It won't be as fun as a fish concert, but
hey, listen, I have pulled pork, pulled chicken, potato salad, and some baked beans, man.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about the raffle? You got a raffle going on too, right?
I got it. It's called the Patriotic Raffle, Brad. You hear that? Patriotic Raffle, man. And you buy one ticket. If your ticket is the winning ticket, you win 4 guns. You win a Glock 47,
dude,
in commemoration of Trump 47. Then look at him thinking.
Yeah, he's like,
would be like
we talk about the abortion at this thing. So
you also get a rock
when is the raffle drawing though? When is that going to be drawn? Is it
about 8:00 probably?
It's going to be. It's going to be
at the event. Yeah, Michael pulled the winning ticket.
I got a ticket. I have no idea what I'm going to do with these guns when I win them. But
it's a Glock 47. It's a Rock Island semi-automatic 12 gauge with a vortex scope. There's 6.5 Creedmoor long rifle with a hunting scope and a M4A1 Daniel Defense AR-15.
How much is the ticket?
$50.
$50.
Yeah, man. Listen, come eat my food, take my guns. You know what I mean? And
sounds like a creed.
I've never heard a Republican say that.
All I'm telling you is,
clip that.
I just want to arm my friends. I want to arm my friends. Okay.
Yeah.
But make sure you bring your checkbook too. Nothing's free in life, Brad. That's one thing you'll learn as a black man. Nothing's free in life. You hear me?
Yeah.
So, a couple weeks ago, I said I was switching to the Democrat Party, but it didn't stick. So,
John, we would probably come get you if you switched to the Democrat.
Yeah,
maybe a long black truck.
I feel love today after the survey, so that's good. I'm ready for the kumbaya and all that. So, all right, guys. Well, it was a great show. I really thought it came together nicely, and we'll have to do it again after Richard wins, or maybe when the heat of the battle gets on there, maybe we could get a debate. So, do you think you guys get a debate? I know it, right? It's like this. The income is it's like.
Hey, John, do you hear how I talk, man? You know what? I'm gonna tell y'all something y'all probably don't even know, man. He's not gonna debate me. I've been black my whole life, and I ain't never took a day off, John. You know what that means?
No days off.
Do you even hear how I speak right now? This is how I speak in the debate as well. They stopped debating me. I used to talk about the Constitution too much, I guess. I don't know. But they stopped debating me.
It's like,
and so he's not going to debate me at all. I would be surprised. But what we're going to do if he doesn't debate me, we're going to get a cutout of him and just put it up there, and then I'll have, the moderator will ask the cutout, and
maybe we get Clint Eastwood to be the guy on it, the moderator. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we get Curtis Hill up there to moderate that thing. That'd be.
Oh, there we go. He's definitely not going to show. We're going to have to get we'll have to get Brad to come out. He'll probably come out for Brad.
Oh no, I can be the stand-in. Like I'll just go there.
Yeah,
We'll put
You know?
we'll get you a shirt, Brad, that has his face.
There we go. Yeah.
You don't have to do that. They don't know who he is anyway.
I've never heard of the guy. I've never
That is
heard of
true.
him.
That
He's
is
been in there
true.
that long, but I don't know a lot of these.
Hey, the news said in this century, so that must mean
Yeah, that's nuts.
It means a lot,
That
man.
is-
You shouldn't. I wouldn't want to be in a sentence like that.
Well,
No.
you know what? It ebbs. It's like a big giant pendulum. The Democrats win sometimes, and it swings back, and the Republicans win sometimes. The incumbent wins for sometimes, and then pretty soon the new guy comes in. So you just got to catch it on the right way it's swinging, right? So,
Well,
all right.
hopefully he has the legs to door knock.
He sounds like if he's from last century. I don't know.
Well,
I'm just gonna.
He
say
might have a scooter.
He's got a scooter. He's got
A golf
Let's
cart.
not do that to him, man. Let's
don't
not
do
that
it.
to him.
So, all right. Well, hey, you know what? Last week we had a guest on. You know, we had Jay Hart on, and this week we got Curtis. And I actually fixed the ending, so Curtis is in the credits. I just feel like I'm really stepping up my game on this producer thing here. It's just unbelievable.
Hey, I need to say a number, John. I need to be in the credits too. What number should I say?
Well, I think we're at 41. So I'll get your number Friday. Don't let me forget because I'm elderly and I can't remember anything. Who are you again?
All right. All right.
So yeah, you could be 41, I think.
Oh,
wait,
yeah, you'll get my number.
44.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Oh no, I think we're up to 45. See, I wanted to
we'll
give
see.
Trump to be 45 and 47, so I'm going to leave those out. So maybe I'll put
there you
right
go. There you
in the
go.
middle, make you 46.
I got a guy that's going to live stream it too.
And
He's
Curtis,
gonna-
I don't know if Curtis is a number either. I have to get some new numbers. I don't have Micah. Brad's on there. Brad's 3.5 because Ed
Yeah,
was
I
3.
went. Yeah.
So we try to keep it real.
I don't know
But
how-
yeah,
Oh, we can
that
do
off.
the halves. We can do the halves.
yeah, we'll just wait. I was going to make a bad joke about the 3/5, but I'm not going to do it because I just don't want to
I seen it.
battle and
I
everything.
Yes,
And
I
I'll
seen it in
clip
your
it,
eye.
and then I'll be out. It's terrible. It's
Yeah,
terrible
I
stuff.
seen
All
it.
right, on that, I got to go.
All right, John. All right, guys. We'll
We'll
see
see
you.
you.
Hey, thanks, John.